All right, everyone, welcome back to the Housing Hangout, where we talk about anything and everything real estate and lending related. My name is Mark with B Realty Texas. I'm here with my man, the one, the only Sam Gabay, Merit Lending. And today we have a very, very special guest, Matt McCaslin with TX Development here in the DFW area
Somewhere.
of Texas.
What's
That's
going
it,
on,
man.
guys?
Hi. So, you guys know the drill, all you housing hooligans. Grab a cocktail. I see Matt's got one. Grab a coffee. We really don't care. Kick back, relax. Hopefully, you guys learn a thing or two, but make yourselves at home. So, this episode is for all of you out there that have ever wanted to build a custom home from scratch. This is the episode you guys want to watch, right? So, we're going to go over what it's like, what you have to do, the ins and outs. You guys are going to be a pro after all this. I think a lot of people in this country have always had a dream of building their dream house. Sam, I know you and I have talked about it.
Sure.
Matt, you and I have obviously talked about it. It's something that I think passes everyone's mind. What would that house look like? Where would it be? It's a dream house.
How
We
would
don't
you
know.
do it? Which is the main
How
question.
would we do it? Yeah, we
Seems
have
like a
no
mountain to
idea.
climb, right? Like massively overwhelming. Not for Matt because he does this in his sleep, but for us peasants, we have no idea. Well, we do, but most people wouldn't, right?
Most people have absolutely no idea. So that's why we're going to help them today.
Right.
That's why we're doing this show. So throughout my real estate career, I've been asked many, many times, Mark, I want to build a custom home. Where do I start? And it varies greatly, from person to person, budget to budget. But I think the first place that we should start is before you even start building anything. And I think that's called the pre-construction phase. The first thing is obviously selecting the right location and securing the land. Before
Right.
you can even get to that point, though, you got to talk about lending. So what are some of the initial budgeting and financing options that people have? How would they go about this?
Right. So there's a misconception out there. Most people think that you need to own the land outright in order to start building a home, right? So that's like a big preventative measure for most people. They don't have 200 grand to go out and buy a piece of land. And so they never think that they can get that done. But there's actually a one-time close loan out there. I came out about a year ago with United Wholesale Mortgage. So this will allow you to build a home with 5% down, okay, which is incredible. So the first thing you want to do is have a guy like Matt lined up, all right? You want to have like some pre-discussions with your builder, and your builder's got to be a licensed contractor, all right? Next thing you're going to do is, sort of have an idea of the location that you want to live in. You're going to call somebody like me, and I'm going to do a pre-approval for you, and that's going to work like any other pre-approval. We're going to find out what you can afford, okay? Can you afford a $500,000 home, $1 million home? How much can you afford, all right? That's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to make sure that you're working with a licensed contractor like Matt. Then we're going to find you a piece of land, right? You're going to find that piece of land, all right? Now,
You're
is
going to
it
use a guy like me for that.
right? You can use a guy like you for that. Now, is it too soon to find that piece of land? Well, not necessarily, all right? So now you're going to find that piece of land. And you're going to want to, if you haven't already drawn up the plans and worked out a budget with Matt, then you're going to want to find that piece of land, and you're going to want to write like a 60 or a 90-day close on that piece of land. So you're going to find the piece of land, you're going to write a contract with Mark on that piece of land, and you're going to say, we're going to close in 60 or 90 days. And maybe Matt can help us with this time frame, okay? During that 60 or 90 days, this is what's going to happen. You're going to need to give me the plans and the budget, and I'm going to have to get Matt approved with the bank. He might already be approved with the bank. There's a company called Granite out there which handles like the draw system, which a lot of builders are already familiar with. So we're going to get the builder approved. We're going to send the plans and the budget over to the bank, and they're going to do a review of that. And then once all that stuff's approved within that 60 or 90 days, we're ready to close. Now, what do you mean ready to close? We haven't even dug a hole yet. We haven't done anything yet. It's a piece of
Right.
dirt. The bank is going to close on the land. They've already got the plans. They've already got the budget from Matt. You've only put down 5%. 5%. The house is going to be 600 grand. 5%. That's what you're going to put down. Okay. You're already
So,
closing.
Sam, can you explain how that works? Because let's say they want to buy a piece of land, a lot, unimproved property for $100,000, but the house is going to cost them $400,000.
Right.
Right. So are you putting 5% down
of the
On the
total build
land and
of the whole
on
thing.
the total build.
Right.
Okay.
So I've already got you pre-approved. You've already made a contract on the land. Matt's already given us the budget and the plans. We got Matt approved by the bank. Now the bank is ready to pay the person who's selling you the piece of land. That person gets paid. So the deal is already closed. You already know what your interest rate is going to be when the house is finished. It's a one-time close. You're not going back to the escrow company. It's over.
That sounds amazing.
The
And
person, right?
it's so much more streamlined
It's totally
than it was
streamlined. So the
before.
person who's selling you the land, they're out. They're paid. I'm kind of out, even though you can still call me at any time. And Mark's kind of out, even though you can still call him at any time for assistance. But now it's between you and Matt and the bank. And Matt and the bank are going to work out a schedule, a building schedule, which I'm sure Matt is familiar with. And that's going to work on a draw system. There's going to be some work performed, then the payment, work performed, payment. There's going to be inspections all the way through. But Matt can talk more about that process. But that's the standard building process anyway if you're financing, isn't it, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Right.
So Matt, you've obviously done a ton of projects. It's been great working with you throughout the years. So thanks for coming on again. Had a quick question. So how involved should the homeowners be in the design process? And what's the best way to communicate their vision to the architect? So I know once they get pre-approved with Sam and they're working with an architect, they come to you. How much involvement are you expecting or you would like to see from a homeowner?
I think it's super important. The majority of the planning goes in the pre-construction phase. So you want to have all your blueprints down to a T. That way you can order your material correctly, your doors, your windows. Everything is talked about before construction ever even starts. It's very important for the homeowner to be in-depthly involved at that stage.
I have a follow-up question. So, I say it's nice if people already have the plans before they even look at a piece of land, but it's possible to look at a piece of land and do like I said, the 60 or the 90-day close. Is that enough time to get plans and a budget done? 60 or 90 days?
In most cases, a couple weeks a month is probably long enough. You do have some homeowners that have tougher decisions to make than other people, but
right.
60 to 90 days is plenty of time.
So now Matt, once you have the plans, okay, that's the actual structure, but based on the budget, you in 3 weeks or within 60 days, you're not picking out like appliances and you're not picking out finishing touches or anything. This is just the plans for the actual structure itself, correct?
Sure. Yeah, your finish out stuff's going to be separate. You can have kind of a good, better, best mentality to it, and give them a ballpark figure on those items. But in all reality, you never know finish out what the homeowner's going to want, whether it's granite, marble, quartz. They can go mild to wild. So it's just kind of an outline budget at that point.
Right. And one of the things I should mention is the bank is going to ask for a bit of a pad in that budget, right? In all states in America, the pad is 5%. In Texas, it's 10. Don't ask me why, but in Texas, they want a 10% buffer. So
yeah, we put some contingency money in. There's always change orders
right.
once the progress has already started. That,
right. And how do you feel about those change orders, Matt?
They're challenging sometimes, but we work through it.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to make any, and I'm just kind of going off the cuff here, but I'm assuming if you want to make any structural changes, then Sam, do you recommend that they go back to the lender and try to get a bigger budget at that point? I mean, you got to have money for it. So
it has to be appraised, right? So
gotcha.
So whatever you do, like if you're putting down only 5%, it's a 95% loan to value. So whatever you do has to stay at 95% loan to value. So if you were going to make changes prior to appraisal and it's still within the budget, fine. But when the appraisal is done, and the appraisal will be done before there's a house, the appraisal gets done off the plans, right? So it's got to appraise. So as long as it appraises, then we're good.
All right, awesome. All right, so step 1, pre-construction phase, get pre-approved, talk to Sam, get me to put in a contract on a piece of land, and then you're reaching out to Matt. Step 2, obtaining permits and preparing the site. So Matt, can you explain some of the types of permits required for building a custom home and maybe discuss some of the site preparation process, like clearing the land, grading, laying the foundation, etc.?
Yeah. We always want to do a site inspection very first. We want to make sure that whatever restrictions there are have been discussed. Your setbacks, as far as your site plan goes on your survey, are all correct. Where our building lines are, where city utilities are, we're going to have those marked and located. Very important to look at topography, drainage, if there's going to need to be any kind of excessive dirt work done, retaining walls built. Go through that whole gamut before we ever even talk about building a foundation or going any further. Depending on city or county, it could be a multitude of things. City is just going to require you to have a building permit, which your builder will pull. And in that encompasses several inspections. Depending on the city, could be anywhere from 8 to 15 or 20 different inspections throughout the process. If you do not trust your builder, or you want to have kind of a second opinion on that, then you can hire a third party inspection company to come out and do inspections throughout that process.
But how much of this is like on the buyer? Like, isn't a lot of this like, doesn't a lot of this come down to picking the right builder? I mean, topography and drainage, and I mean, people aren't going to know all that stuff, right?
Right.
They're going to look at a piece of land, and they should probably call you before they write a deal, right? And you go out there
Absolutely.
and have a look at it, right?
I would say that elevation is probably one of my number one things as far as picking a plot. We want to make sure that drainage is good. We don't want to be on the bottom of a hill.
If we don't have any further questions for Matt, let's move on to step 3, which is building the structure. Now, Sam, I had a question for you. Right, with this 5% loan that you got through UWM, it's based on a draw system, correct? Correct. The builder. Okay, so as we're going through here, what Matt's going to be doing is he's going to be doing some work. There you go, Matt. Can you explain what that is?
It's a pre-construction. We put it with all of our contracts. It's going to have your draws in it, and it's going to have your stages of the construction so that your homeowners will know exactly what's going on at what stage, what phase.
There you go. Perfect. If you've got a builder who drew you a plan on a napkin, he's probably not the guy.
Dude, that's so sketchy, man. So sketchy. Awesome. So, all right. So step 3 is going to be actually building the structure. So once you have your financing, you've picked the perfect plot of land that you want to build your dream house, and you go through you're preparing the site, you're clearing the land, you're grading, you're laying down the foundation. Now we get to actually building the structure. Now this is where this is the point in this entire process where it actually starts to take shape. Right, you're setting up the framing of your home, you're installing all of your mechanicals as far as electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and you're discussing a lot of other things. What are some of the key stages in framing a home, Matt, that you have to go through? And how long does that actual part of the process take?
It's going to vary on the square footage of the house. Let's use a typical example here in Texas, 2,800 square foot. We're going to frame that, dry it in, side it, windows, exterior doors in about 14 days.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, man. What the hell? 14 days?
Yeah, 14 days.
That's crazy. I remember when my dad built a house when we were kids, it took like a year and a half.
Dude, I've been working on a damn barn for 3 years, Sam.
Okay.
3 years.
You should have called Matt, bro.
I should have called Matt in the beginning. Jeez. Okay, so it's safe to say that most of the time spent up until this point is just preparing and just getting everything sorted out and just planning.
I would say most of the objections in your own head. People think this is like this huge process and it's going to take months and years to get done. It isn't. I mean, you come to me, I'll get you approved in a day, right? You go to Matt, he's got plans for you in 2-3 weeks.
You keep skipping this process, bro. Like, they go to you, and then they come to me. I'll get them under contract in 1 day.
Let me rephrase.
They go to Matt.
You come to me, I get you approved. You go to Mark, you find a piece of land. You go to Matt, he's got your plans in a couple of weeks. I mean, we're talking about ins and outs and different types of dirts and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, you really don't even need to know all that stuff. Matt's going to take care of it, right? If you've got a qualified builder, I mean, he's going to walk you through the process, and sure, there could be some stuff that's unforeseen and but that's why you hire a professional, because they know how to handle all that stuff. Start to finish, Matt, how long does it take?
Again, on that typical average 2,800 square foot, I would say 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months. Okay.
So moving on to step 5, it's the final inspection and move-in. So Matt, one of the things that we didn't cover was a lot of homeowners are really nervous, especially, well, speaking to me, like they're nervous about going through this process because they don't want to mess up. So oftentimes what I tell them is you don't have to worry about messing up because every step of the process is going to get checked off by a home inspection or a home inspector. Roughly how many inspections are done, and at what points in the build do you have to get it signed off by an inspection?
When you're picking a builder, interview multiples. I would say a
Okay.
minimum of 3. Walk their job sites, not just a job that they've built and that's completed that looks nice and neat and done. Go walk a job that's being framed, go walk a job that's in the mechanicals and rough end phase, and really get a taste for, is the job site clean?
Right.
Is the work neat? Or is it kind of just your electrical thrown everywhere? It's not routed real nice and neat. You can really tell a lot about just what's going on around the project, how the site looks.
There's trash everywhere and a bunch of Corona
Is there trash
cans.
everywhere? Is there people parked in the yard? Just
right. The
take
assistant
all that
sleeping in the closet.
that
I've seen that before, man.
After that, have all the faith and all the trust in your builder.
Right. Well, you also have, like, right in the beginning, the bank plays a role in that too. They're going to inspect your budget and they know what they're talking about, right? If you bring them a budget that's totally out of whack, I mean, it's not going to get approved. They know what they're doing. They probably have the same software as Matt to analyze those budgets. They also pre-screen your builder. It's got to be a builder that's been in business, that's not going to go out of business, that's got experience, that's licensed. So that gives you a little bit of confidence as well, right?
Yeah, and I have to send them receipts. I have to send them a draw schedule.
Right.
They're not going to release any more money until they send out a mortgage inspector. So I've got to meet with the mortgage inspectors and
Right.
walk them through what work has been done. Yeah, it's very vigorous.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Well, man, so we talked about final inspections, and then obviously move-in day is what everybody is looking for. One of the questions I had for you, Matt, was what's one of the most rewarding parts of building a custom home with a client from start to finish?
I like that I get to see their vision become reality, right? So they have a dream, they put it on paper, and then we build it, and it becomes an actual, tangible, physical thing, and that's full circle the coolest thing for me.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, building a home for a family to raise their kids in and build memories. I mean, you're literally changing the trajectory of people's lives, and that's got to be really, really impactful. So
And just building anything. I mean, I'm not a builder and I'm not a handy guy, but whatever little, like, dinking around I do at my house, whenever I fix, like, my kid's bicycle, like, I'm pretty proud of myself. So I can't imagine how Matt feels when he builds a whole house.
you would be pumped by fixing the bikes. Well, Matt, I really, really want to appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us on the Hangout. Sam, you want to wrap up the show?
Hey, we brought you Matt the Builder. We brought you the 5% down loan. We brought you Mark the Realtor. We showed you how to make your building dreams come true, and it's really not that difficult, so don't be discouraged. It can be done, and it can be done easily.
Matt, if any of our viewers have any questions about building a new custom home and they want to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you?
pxdevelopmentgroup@gmail.com.
There it is.
There it is, you guys.
All right. Peace, everyone.
Till next time.